What's going on, everybody? How about we crack ourselves a beer and talk about some motorcycles? I think that sounds like a good time. Ooh-wee. What are we drinking today? Looks like we got a Telluride Mountain Beer Kolsch German Style Ale. Telluride Brewing Company. Pretty good stuff. Well, let's see. So I've had my KLX 300 for a little over a month now, and I did my first oil change today, and we are at, let's see, 562 miles, so almost 600 miles, and I thought I'd just go ahead and take care of it. So I've done a few upgrades. I'll get you guys some close-ups here, but I did some foot pegs, I did skid plate, and some bar risers, because I'm about 6'2", so it's a lot more comfortable when I rise the bars up. That's good. Good stuff, Telluride. So, yeah, what else have I done? I've adjusted the rear preload on the rear suspension. It's about 9 inches of travel in the rear, and I had it sagging down about 2 inches or so after I set the preload. I've adjusted the compression front and rear, making it a little stiffer because I like to ride a little bit more aggressively. Yeah, overall, loving the bike. When you get it on the road, yeah, it's a 300. It's not going to be super fast like a street bike or 450 or bigger bikes like that, but it gets up and goes just fine. It has kind of like almost like a power band from around 7,000 to around 8,000. It has a big ramp up there at the end, so when you really get on it, you kind of feel that power surge, which I like. But once you get this thing on the trail, it's plenty of power. I mean, you can putt around low RPMs, and it'll just chug along, and it'll do the turns and peel out, and you can clutch up the front end and get some wheelies going. But overall, loving this bike, and I would recommend it to anybody that's trying to do some trail riding or adventure riding, light adventure riding. It'll go pretty much anywhere. What else have I been liking about this bike? Clutch pull is really nice. Front brakes, plenty powerful. What else? On my first video, I showed you guys that I was missing the left rear plastic, because when they shipped it out, they shipped 2 right sides, but the dealership said that that's on back order, so hopefully that'll come in soon. That'd be nice to have a complete bike. What else? Yeah, so the foot pegs I ended up going with were the what are they called? Let's get the box real quick. The Drc hardware wide foot pegs, and I ended up going with these because they're about double the size, double the width of the stockers. I'll give you guys a close-up in a second. And they're about maybe ½ an inch wider this way. But the only thing I didn't like about them is they seem like they sit a little bit taller, maybe like 5 millimeters taller than the stock ones, which I would rather than be lower since I'm a taller rider, but it's fine. I can still stand up decently well. The first foot pegs I went with were the IMS Super Stockers, because I saw some people doing that, and they said that would work with the new KLX 300, because some people say that a lot of the 250 KLX 250 stuff will transfer over, just like the Ricochet skid plate that fit on fine, was pretty easy to install, and I'm glad I have that, because riding here in Grand Junction, Colorado, we have a lot of rocky trails, and I hear stuff, rocks banging up on that thing all the time. But yeah, foot pegs, giving me a lot better grip now. I just got some Amazon 30mm bar risers, and I think that's probably about the limit that you can raise the bars before you have to extend the clutch and throttle cables. Clutch cable is probably the tightest one, but when I turn it left and right, it's not engaging the clutch, so I think it should be fine for a while. Brake line, you could probably raise it up a little bit more, but throttle cables, they're getting a little tight too, but 30mm risers seem like they work fine. Another thing I had to do was when I put these foot pegs on, since they're sitting a little bit higher, I had to raise up my brake pedal a little bit and adjust the shifter, raise that up a little bit just so I can get everything when I have my boots on. For air pressures, I've been running about 22 is the recommended front and rear. And I usually just go around 20-22 when I'm on the road, but then when I get to the trail, I've been dropping it down to about around 18. That seems like it's a good pressure to run. I can definitely tell I'm getting better traction, but I don't want to go super low because I don't have the rim, what are they called, the rim. I can't even think what they're called. The rim guards or the wheel locks. I don't have wheel locks on here, so don't want to be running super low pressures and end up spinning the tube and popping that. But I really don't want to put rim locks on because that will make my tires go out of balance when I'm on the highway or doing faster speeds. Oh, this stupid fly. I'm gonna get my electric fly swatter out here and kill this thing. But yeah, I'll give you guys some close-ups of the stuff I put on there and see if I can think of anything else to say while I'm sipping on this beer. All right, well let's take some close-ups on some of this stuff. It's go time. All right, are you guys ready for some close-up action? Let's see what we got. So here's the Drc Foot Pegs. And just to kind of go over what happened with the first foot pegs I got, I had the IMS Super Stockers, and they fit on, but then they weren't sitting level. They were kind of tilted down, maybe, I don't know, it seemed like almost a 1/4 inch. The outsides were tilted down, and I tried riding with them like that, and that was a no-go, so I had to get rid of those. And I saw these, and they seem like they have actually sharper spikes, closer spikes to the stocker ones. But if you take a above look, try to line that up to where the pin would be, you can see they're almost about double the width, and they actually stick out maybe 1/2 inch or so more too, so that's nice. And then we got the Ricochet skid plate, which I looked at a couple different ones, and I ended up really liking this one because it has these fins that stick up and protect the radiator hoses, and a couple of dings on there already. It's got the little hole for the oil drain plug, and I tried to get it as level as I could when I was draining the oil today, and still, you know, it kind of puddled up inside of the skid plate, on top of the skid plate when it started dripping out. But for the most part, it wasn't too bad. I probably could have lined up that hole a little bit better. I didn't get skid plate completely straight on there, but it's good enough for me. I might adjust it here one of these days. And then it also protects the case too right here. I mean, I've had some pretty big size rocks, you know, fly up hitting that. I'd much rather them hit the skid plate than the case. I think anybody would. And then got the bar risers right here. And that's about it for the stuff that I've put on here. I would like to get some brush guards, handlebar guards, so if I ever do lay it over, I'm not breaking levers. And a lot of them I see, they have the mount that attaches here, and that usually kind of goes underneath the cables, and I don't know, that just seems kind of a pain. It doesn't seem like it's a really good fit, and especially on these Kawasaki bars, there's actually a threaded insert in here, which you would usually have to re-thread to fit the lever protectors, brush guards, whatever you call them, or you can get new bars. So I'm not sure what I'll do with that, but if I do end up retapping that, I think I'm gonna get the mount that attaches to the front of the fork right here. So then it kind of comes up and then attaches to the guard instead of attaching to the handlebar over here. That seems like that would be a better solution than messing around with trying to make it work with the cables. Oh yeah, I'll show you guys. So when I adjusted the preload, I just got a little aluminum dowel, or a wooden dowel would work too, and just loosen this top nut and then tighten that down till you get the proper preload. Stock was probably somewhere around there. I probably dropped it down almost an inch, 3/4 of an inch or so. What else? Oh yeah, I cleaned and lubed the chain, around 400 miles. Changing the oil was pretty easy. You just have the oil filter cover right here, then there's an O-ring in there, then there's the filter, and I saw some people tilting the whole bike over to get the little spring that's on the inside of the filter to stay put. But the trick is you get the oil filter, and on the back you put a little dab of grease on there, put the spring on the filter, and then you put it in, and that holds the spring in place. Some people have said that they kind of widen out the spring so it sits in there nice and easy. But yeah, these bolts don't have a proper torque. You just get them snug, and then there's the O-ring. Make sure you put a little grease and oil on that. And then on the drain plug, there's a little crush washer. I got an extra one just in case, but it looked fine, so I just reused the old crush washer. It would be nice to get a little bit more power out of this thing. Put a pipe, high flow air filter, and a ignition controller, but I don't know, I'll roll for it right now. I kind of like having a quiet exhaust. Seems like all the exhausts that people are putting on just seem a little bit too loud for me, and sounds good, but I feel like when I'm going on long rides through the forest and stuff, it'd get kind of annoying. And then yeah, some people want to get the delete kit, take this big fender off, but I kind of like the look of it. It's kind of old school with the tool bag, and we'll see if I end up banging it on stuff and go off a big ledge and rip it off. We'll see what I do, but instead of buying one of the delete kits, I think I would probably just get my Dremel and cut it off right here and get rid of this part that's hanging down, and I think that would look fine. That'd be good. I put a few more tools in the tool bag, a little ratchet kit, some extra sockets, and also got some tools over here for the axle nuts. I found this Tusk tool that has the 27 for the rear and 19 for the front. So if I ever get a flat, I can do that. And I also got these Stockton tire levers, which they also have some common sizes for axle nuts. A little patch kit, CO2 inflator if I have to put a new tube in there. I got some new tubes, but a lot of times I'll just bring my little bicycle pump It's maybe about 10 inches long, and if you're just putting a couple PSI in the tire after a ride, it is fine, you know. A couple 30 to 50 pumps, get back up to pressure and ride home. That's the beauty of a dual sport, is you can ride it anywhere. But yeah, loving the bike. Any questions, put them down below and I'll get back to you. Thanks everybody. So here's some bonus footage of me scaring the crap out of my coworker. I got you. That's how I was trying to get you to close it.